Hey Internet, Eric here.
Hi.
Whitey's back.
Yay.
This was per his request, not for me to review it, but he wanted to sit in and talk to this because he knows his history and I don't know shit. So today
about a lot of things.
Yep. Today's movie, we're going to talk the 1988 classic
Young Guns.
Young Guns. Starring everybody who was anybody back then.
Alright, give me the fucking.
But if you're new to my channel, welcome. I discuss plot spoilers, specific things, all that jazz. I'm gonna hand this over to Whitey because Whitey really enjoys this film for many, many reasons, and he can discuss it a lot more than I can. And we'll get to it. So
yeah, so
you're on, sure.
So first thing to understand about Young Guns, because we're gonna do more of a history.
Well,
Hollywood.
let's talk about the film as well.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
So go ahead with your basic plot, and then go ahead and tear it to shreds.
One thing I wanted to say. Let me plug this in. This will be too. Okay. Promise to Jesus. Oh, do you have the 3-prong thing? Okay. So an important thing about Young Guns is that
this is all him. So if you don't like this video,
let us know.
Let him know.
Tell him to fire me from his show.
All right. Anyways.
All right. So obviously Billy the Kid is really super fucking famous. He's like the most famous outlaw in the West. And there's been 100 movies and TV shows and stuff for like, you had Gunsmoke or something, and Billy the Kid was a character.
Young Riders.
Yeah, Young Riders. The show?
Yeah, there was a show called Young. He was the kid. Everyone knew he was Billy the Kid.
Yeah. So, but it's like there was one that came out, and Chris Christopherson was Billy the Kid.
Really?
Yeah, in like 77. So Chris Christopherson.
In 77, Chris Christopherson still looked like he was in his 60s.
He was still, he looked like this old guy. He's like, hey, you sons of bitches. Hold on, let me get my teeth in here. I'm Billy the Kid. Chomp, chomp, chomp.
Anyways,
and so
get on Young Guns.
When they made Young Guns, you impatient fuck, they went and got Kiefer Sutherland, Charlie Sheen, Lou Diamond Phillips, Dermot Mulroney, Casey fucking Chemesco. It's not my fault their names are crazy. And Emilio Estevez is Billy the Kid. And they were all about, say, 22, 23. Casey Chemesco was 28. He was the senior citizen.
Okay.
So the point is, they actually got these actors to be closer to the real life age of the actual characters.
Yeah, because Billy was supposed to be around 18?
He was said to be 21 when he died.
Okay.
And so he's about 19, 21 during the course of the events of this film. And it's based on some the actual fucking events of the Lincoln County War. A lot of the other stuff, writers just made up drama. Okay. Random action shooting scenes for no reason. Blitz, what's up, buddy? And so this one is you get an actual sense historically what happened and why. It's not a documentary. Right. So they took their licenses.
Their liberties, yeah.
And what would happen is he would do a scene that is indicative of the type of things that were going on, but necessarily happened. I'll get to that in a second. So when the film opens up, you have Emilio Estevez, and he's running down the street with a gun in his hand and a hat on his head and nothing else. Right. And the idea, and that's where he was when he came into Lincoln. You know, he was on the run from the law with nothing but a gun in his hand, and that's all it was. But a little bit more background on him. What happened was nobody knows where Billy was born or exactly when, but they think it comes from out east.
That's just
notification. And so nobody knows who his dad is historically, but he goes sometimes by the name McCarty. William H. McCarty. So we think that's his dad's name. He probably came from South Boston or something like that, like the 5 Points area, where a lot of Irish were coming over with the famine and whatnot. Nothing's known about his dad. He actually had a brother named Joe, but nobody knows anything other. That's all I know. His name. And so at some point, his mom went from the East Coast, was actually in Illinois at a point, in Missouri, and she was in one of these things where you write letters back and forth, like the equivalent of Tinder at the time, and met this guy named William H. No, it was William
Macy. No,
it wasn't. Trying to be historical here, dude. What was that? Antrim, William Antrim. Okay. Who was a coal miner. So they move to New Mexico. They move in with him. They get married. His mom dies from consumption. William Antrim wanted nothing to do with Billy the Kid, so he ended up orphaned. And everybody said he was a good kid, a good student prior to that point, but now he's like fucked. And so he fell in with a group called the Jesse Evans Gang. And
was that these guys?
No, that's what's coming in just a moment.
Okay.
The Jesse Evans Gang was like the equivalent of a modern day biker gang. And so that's where Billy kind of gets his twitchy finger from. So they decide to go into Lincoln, New Mexico, where you have this feud going on between. You keep staring at me, bro. It's freaking me out. Sorry. What was the guy's name? It was Murphy and it was John Tunstall, who was a young Englishman.
Tunstall is the Terrence Stamp guy, right?
Terrence Stamp guy, and he's runs a business and does cattle. And then opposite from him is L.G. Murphy and Dolan. And so there's these two factions. They're cattle businessmen. They own stores, and they're competing with each other. But L.G. Murphy has got this much larger group. He's got what they call the Murphy Men, which is 5,200 guys. And he's connected to something called the Santa Fe Ring, which is a bunch of corrupt politicians and whatnot. He's very powerful, very connected, a lot of guys, a lot of money. Terrence Stamp's character, John Tunstall, is a 26-year-old Englishman, much smaller. You know, he's got about 30, 40 guys, but there's the big faction, the little faction. So when the Jesse Evans gang rolls into town, they go to work for the bigger faction, L.G. Murphy. Billy the Kid actually goes to work at a cheese-making factory. Shit you not.
Wow.
Kid you not, with Doc Skurlock, played by Kiefer Sutherland, and the other guy's name I'm blanking on, played by Casey Chimasco. That got shut down because they got run out of business. And then them and a rancher named Dick Brewer, they all end up working for John Tunstall. So it's basically the big faction. It's just like Super Walmart. It's wiping out all the small businesses. They end up working for John Tunstall. And right as Billy the Kid shows up and starts working with them as well, the Lincoln County War kicks off. So
you know what?
last sentence, and then it's
that's fine.
here he is, an honest, decent kid, but then he gets caught up in these circumstances, kind of outside of his control.
I'm thinking of, and this is nothing against you. This isn't going to really be a movie review because you know your shit. This is going to be more like a history lesson type of video.
What did I just say? Like when we started talking, I was like history versus Hollywood.
Because
I'm about to do all of this.
I didn't think how much you were going to
I've got 5 more seconds. Like the next thing I was going to say was, and then you get to the point. Like the next thing to happen, so they go to work for John Tunstall, and the Lincoln County War is kind of on the verge of kicking off. And that's where you meet Billy the Kid when he's running down the street with a gun. Now, the one more point I wanted to make was...
He's getting upset over nothing.
Just like in the film...
What a woman.
They asked him at one point, they say, you know, you killed a guy. The guy he killed, his name was Wendy Cahill. And they were playing cards. Wendy Cahill thought he was cheating. Wendy Cahill is a bigger guy. Billy Kid's little Billy Kid. Knocked him down, started beating the shit out of him. Billy Kid pulled out a gun and shot him in the abdomen.
Okay.
He died the next day. So that's where we get to when they come into Lincoln and he starts working for John Tunstall. That all actually happened, but that's just the 5 minutes of details to get you up to that point that the film doesn't address. Which is fine because, again, it's an action shoot-'em-up. And this is all you got to know. He's on his own with nothing but a gun in his hand. He's running from the law. And that, what the John Fusco, the director, gets you is all that information in that one quick moment. And then he ends up with the regulators, which are these guys working for John Tunstall, and that's where the kind of the film gets going. And so that's there. Thank you. Fuck you.
You're getting so.
Now we get to the damn movie.
No.
Here's all you need.
No, what it's saying is, you know, it can be more. This can be more of just like a history lesson instead of just a movie review. So I might not put it in like the movie review.
But I'm
section
not. There's not that was the bulk of my talking that isn't directly involved in the film. So now we can talk about the film. You ready? Let's go, kids.
Well, what I was saying is I really like all the performances. You've thrown me.
Go for it.
You've thrown me for a loop. My favorite character, actually, out of all these people, my favorite character is not on the box cover. My favorite character is John Tunstall, played by Terrence Stamp.
Yes.
I love how he's taking these boys in and he's teaching them to read.
Yeah.
He's getting them off the streets. He's trying to make them, I don't know, like proper gentlemen or what, but that's just a notification. Don't pay attention. But he's trying to make them proper gentlemen. And then when he is gunned down, you believe like the rage and the sadness out of all these men.
Yes.
But every single one of these guys is great. Emilio Estevez is he does a great job of making Billy the Kid charismatic, but dangerous.
Exactly.
This guy would be your friend, but he would shoot you in the back in a heartbeat.
And part of that was given what he'd come through, being orphaned and all, and he was loyal. Mm-hmm. So when he was like a lost puppy dog. You showed him some loving compassion. He loves you, but the guy who's yelling at you, he's gonna rip his balls off out of loyalty. But that's kind of the draw to Billy the Kid was he wasn't just a psychopathic murderer.
No, he would. Yeah,
it wasn't greed. It was loyalty that drove him.
Mm-hmm. And then Kiefer Sutherland as the older.
Yeah, a little more.
I mean, he's
a
under
little bit older,
right. He's under 30, but he's the older one of the group. So he's not really like the secondary father figure, but he's also he's looking out for them.
And him and Charlie Sheen are like older brothers.
Okay,
like the older brothers. Terrence Stamp is the father, and Charlie Sheen and Kiefer Sutherland are kind of the older brothers to the rest of the boys.
Yep. I like how Lou Diamond Phillips, because he's the Native American, he's Native American Mexican, right?
Mexican American.
But he's the outsider because they're always throwing.
No, Mexican Indian.
That's what I said.
I fucked up. Mexican Indian. That's the direct line. They're like something. He's like Mexican Indian, you son of a bitch. That's his retort all the time.
But I like him being that outsider because he's not a white boy, and he's putting up with their shit, but he's still also very loyal to them because I think it's more out of respect to Terrence Stamp than anything until once Terrence is murdered, he's got no one but these guys.
Exactly, and they got that bit where he talks about how, the tribe he grew up with kind of got a combination of starved to death and slaughtered and stuff. Mm-hmm. He's got nowhere else to go as well. Right. So it's like an island of misfit toys. Mm-hmm. Perfect. They're all, that's what the regulars are. They're all and they say that they're the Flotsam and Jetsam of, frontier society. They got nowhere else to be. Right. So Terrence Stamp takes him in, and Terrence Stamp isn't this older guy in the film, but in real life he was, John Tunstall was only 26 years old. He's not any older than them. But it works with giving him the father figure because you see how he's kind of, like you said, he's taking them all these orphans in from different situations and taking care of them. And it's a really good movie. Yeah, it's probably a bit blown out of proportion because.
And they made it very Hollywood.
Yeah, but Lou Diamond Phillips is a composite of a number of guys.
And then you said that Dirty Steve and.
Casey Chimesco was Charlie Beaudry. Yeah,
they were actually one person split into two.
No, what it is there wasn't just those. There's the 6 guys there, and then a 7th guy joins them partway through. Mm-hmm. It was more like 30 or 40 guys that were coming and going. Because in the second film, you have
Arkansas Dave Rudaball.
Dave Rudaball and the kid. What was the kid's name?
I don't remember.
The whippersnapper. They were actually there for all of this. Okay. And then the kid in the movie, I can think of the actor's name, but not the character's name for some reason. But he's actually older than Billy the Kid in real life. Okay. But they were actually there. So, but what you did is you broke that down to just 7 guys for the sake of, so you get to know them better in filmmaking, but also so they feel more disadvantaged to the larger group, and it works visually. But so what they did was they took 3 or 4 different guys and made it Steve Stevens. 3 or 4 different guys became Charlie Beaudry. 3 or 4 different guys became Lou Diamond Phillips. And they all actually existed. There were, Chavez was a real guy. Okay. But you take 4 or 5 different guys and combine them into that character. And so it wasn't 7 guys, it was like 28 guys, and you broke it down into these guys.
Okay. Well, yeah, every character I think is very likable. Outstanding. Well, I mean, I love Casey Chimesco. He's more of the I don't want to say sensitive one, but he's more the caring individual of the group. Right. And then
a little bit more emotionally vulnerable, maybe.
Yep. Dirty Steve is Dirty Steve, and he's probably my favorite character. I love Dirty Steve. But fantastic cast. The action is top notch. Yes. The shootout at the end, and between the regulators and then Jack Palance's people. Yeah.
The Murphy Dolan.
The Murphy. Really intense. I mean, if you don't know history like you don't know who is going to live and who's going to die, and they do a really good job. I mean, eventually the house that they're in catches fire, and you don't know who's getting out, who's living, and who's dying, and all that jazz. And it's just edited really well. The soundtrack is a typical Western soundtrack, but it fits really well. Like when they're just riding their horses in the distance, it's the perfect type of score that would go with this. During that shootout at the end, it's the perfect score that's going, an intense score for the shootout.
Yeah.
When I first saw this film, I was surprised how much I enjoyed it. And I'm one of those guys, like a lot of people say, well, they take liberties with this, they take liberties with that.
Mm-hmm.
You're the history guy, I'm not. I had no problem. This was a highly, highly entertaining movie. I enjoy every bit of it. I can't think of a scene that I don't really like. I mean, I kind of go back and forth during like when Chavez makes them do peyote and they're tripping balls in the desert. That's hit or miss with me, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
It doesn't take away from how great Young Guns is.
Right, but what you got to understand is you've got a whole lot of different events over the course of many months or a couple of years. Mm-hmm. You got to condense that into an hour and a half.
Right.
So they took the key points and the key characters and concepts.
Hour and 40 minutes.
Yeah, and made it into a concise story, and they crushed it. I wouldn't change a frame of this film.
No,
it was perfect down to every little detail. Mm-hmm. Some people complained about the 80s music that's in it. I don't even notice it. I thought they did a good job with that.
I like 80s songs.
No, there's like kind of
like just the scores.
What was popular at the time, isn't it? But it actually got blended in with some good authentic Western music.
Jack Palance,
good job.
Kicks ass as Murphy.
Yep.
He's one of those sleazy bastards that you want him to die by the end of this film.
Oh, for sure.
But Palance is Jack fucking Palance. So.
I got bad news for you though.
Huh?
He didn't.
Hmm.
They made that up. He just died of cancer.
Whatever. Hollywood. Good job, Hollywood. You did a lot. But
he didn't get shot in the head by Billy the Kid from 50 yards away.
But see, that's but after all this, after watching all this intense scenes, do you want him to die?
No, you want him to get his head blown off. Precisely.
So, this is the one time when Hollywood butchered history for the greater good.
But it did, but it didn't, because again.
Well, you know what I mean.
They took it liberties, but this got. When I was making before, this got so much closer to what really happened. Mm-hmm. So again, you can't take all this shit and you gotta condense it to an hour and a half long. And so this really got you. This is what'll happen. So there's the scene towards the beginning where they have that shootout in that bar. Mm-hmm. Okay, that didn't literally happen, but you get the idea, because what happened was John Tunstall gets killed, and then they all get deputized to go chase down the bad guys.
Right.
They got no training, and they're all in their 20s. Mm-hmm. And so they go running in that bar, and shit just kind of got carried away.
Yeah.
And so that's the essence of what happened. Mm-hmm. A bunch of dudes on this side that were just handed badges, and a bunch of dudes on this side that were just handed badges. Mm-hmm. And they kind of ran into each other and get bang, 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 and a bunch of people got killed. Mm-hmm. Did that literally happen? No, but that's the essence of 3 or 4 or 5 different shootouts that took place. And so you get a sense. A bunch of young guys ran into a situation and shit went wrong.
Yep.
And so they really give you, and again, Billy the Kid would have been a normal kid, but he got caught up in this.
Wrong place, wrong time.
And they say in the film, it's there's a whirlwind out there, and so they're just normal guys, but they get caught up in this crazy scenario.
It's like
I wouldn't change it for the world.
Billy the Kid, wrong place, wrong time. He was the John McClane of
but in a way, he was the right guy at the right time because he came into his own. Yep. This is what he did good. Yep. Shooting people.
Yep. So after that review and that history lesson, which actually was pretty good.
I only had about 4 more hours of stuff to say.
I know. But no, in the end, Young Guns, highly recommended. Great performances, likable characters. Like I said, Dirty Steve is my favorite, although Emilio is probably a runner, but they're all good. It's hard. It's hard to pick a favorite. But again, like I said, Terrence Stamp and Jack Palance as well do fantastic.
It's everybody.
Great action, great score, great fucking movie. So that's it. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. Click the bell. I don't care. I'm going to put the link to the Whitey the White Guy Show in the description below. Click on that link. Sub to him. Show him some love. Show him a lot of hate because he deserves it. But thank you for watching and good journey.
Good journey.